Hi, I'm Jasmine Short. I'm Assistant Head at High Furlong School. I'm just doing a quick video to show you what we do for literacy, the sort of tech that we use to support reading and writing, and just a little bit about our new phonics scheme that we've written. So I'm just going to share screen. Okay. So English at High Furlong. So I'm just hoping it's not going to have lots and lots of detail in this. It just might give you a few tips and ideas of what we use, and if you see anything that you're more interested in, you can just let us know and we can share some more information with you. So firstly, I'm just going to talk about phonics. So we have written our own bespoke phonics reading scheme called Reading River. So Reading River in our school is a tool that covers everything that we need for reading for all ages from age 2 to 19. The reason why we did it initially is because we searched for the sort of off the peg reading schemes and phonics schemes, and there was not really anything out there that met the needs of our pupils or had the right resources. There was always something not quite right with the scheme. It was, often the schemes are not accessible. So obviously we have pupils who might be non-verbal or have physical difficulties, and a lot of the schemes out there are made for more mainstream younger pupils. Often the resources that we've seen aren't very good and aren't what we wanted, and again aren't accessible. And also we found that our reading schemes are written for mainstream children who are in reception year 1 and year 2. So the phonics schemes and the reading schemes that are used are all tailored around young children. We know that some of our learners might not be able to learn to read until they're older, until the different skills that they need in order to start learning to read are in place. So we have some pupils in our Key Stage 5 group who are 18 years old who are still learning and trying to learn how to read and are still given the opportunity to engage with phonics in order to build up those skills. So we've written the reading scheme to make sure it suits learners of all ages. So another few reasons. So I've already said accessibility. Some of our pupils with the phonics schemes that we had in place weren't making the progress that we wanted, and we wanted to boost that. So we thought by writing our own, we'd be able to pinpoint specific areas which we wanted them to make progress in. The new education inspection framework by Ofsted has got a huge focus on reading, and we wanted to make sure that was right. We really value and understand the importance of reading, literacy and communication as a whole, and how communication and literacy skills are intertwined. We also wanted to make sure that we had a consistent scheme right the way throughout the school, something that we didn't have to pick from different schemes of work in order to deliver. We wanted to upskill our staff and improve what we were delivering. We wanted to make sure our new phonics scheme matched what the children were reading, which I know that within the new Ofsted framework, there is a big focus on making sure that the phonics that is learned in the classroom matches what the children are also reading. So we wanted to make sure that matched up as well. And we wanted to reduce workload as well. We found that because everyone was sort of doing their own thing in their own classes, everyone was having to plan and prepare different things for phonics and reading. Although it's been a big workload on the team who put Reading River together, The idea is that everything's there. So our Phonics Scheme gives everything from resources to activities to lesson plans to assessment. Everything is all there, ready just to pick up. So our teachers and our support staff have everything that they need in order to deliver high quality phonics and reading. So we had a little inspiration, and it's something that has, for our school, has touched our hearts and has made us think about our learners and making sure that they have the right opportunities, but also proving that phonics and reading can unlock so much, more specifically in communication. So I'm hoping that this video will work. And I am sharing sound. If this video isn't working, the link is in this presentation, so you'll be able to copy the link. It seems to be working. Let me just put 1 moment. Not sure it's I'm just going to stop share and I'll redo it. Okay, that should work now.
Did you find that uncomfortable? Perhaps you wrote disabled or wheelchair user. You may have non-verbal written down. You are right. But there is more to me than the body I'm trapped in. I am here to dispel the assumption that non-verbal children
me
are incapable of learning to read and write. When I entered the education system, I was labelled as having profound and multiple learning disabilities and enrolled at a special school. At first I enjoyed my time, making new friends and having fun with my lovely teacher, who made lessons engaging, varied and entertaining. But can you imagine being stuck in a reception class, but without the teaching? Aged 5, aged 6, aged 7. Outwardly I looked vacantly stupid. Inwardly I was amusing myself, lost in my own thoughts. When my peers were starting year 3, I was taken out of my special school for an hour a day to be taught by my mother to read, write and do basic maths. I tried using an eye gaze computer, but it couldn't read my eyes very well. But my mother and carers could. My access to learning was found. Initially, the progress was slow, but I haven't looked back since. By year 5, 2 years after I started literacy and numeracy lessons at home, I had caught up with my peers and went on the roll of my local primary school. Being able to read and write has totally transformed my life. Now I can communicate exactly what I want to say. My relationships have been renewed as I can hold conversations with family and friends, and there is new life in my free time. I should not need to tell you this story. My story of learning to read and write should not be unique. When you next meet a child with PMLD, please think, has their access to learning been found? How can that access be used to teach them to read and write? As professionals, you have the power to start breaking down the assumptions that yoke children like me. Use it well.
Okay, so that's really relevant for a special needs setting, but obviously should be relevant for all settings as well. So they were the reasons why we decided that rather than buying an off-the-peg phonics and reading scheme, that we would write our own. And we saw in children so much potential, and we've already seen a huge impact on the progress that pupils are making with their reading and phonics, which is really exciting. So a huge part of it is how we facilitate Reading River, our phonics scheme. So we do use a lot of low-tech equipment. So we use e-tron frames, symbol cards, sound frames with sound buttons. Some of our learners use coloured dots to make choices, or tactile dots if they are visually impaired to make choices. And we just have a ton of different phonics resources, flashcards, games, activities. And in our classrooms, we have boxes for each phase in Reading River, and resources that are straight to hand, that are there to deliver Reading River in the classroom. But just to complement it and to make it even better, we also use some voice output. So we use switches, which will be pre-recorded by staff, so it might be different sounds recording on different switches and pupils can make the choices. We often use switchboards to build sound words for blending and segmenting. And that's quite, we found that really important for the pupils to listen to the sounds rather than listen to somebody saying it to them. They get to listen to the sounds and say the sounds themselves. We also utilise eye gaze for selecting letters and sounds and words, and we also use the iPads for different activities, and also a lot of our pupils use iPads for communication. So in order for them to answer questions and to show their learning and show their understanding, there's some of the ways that we are able to do that. We also have some nice smart boards in the classroom, and we subscribe to Phonics Play just as an extra thing, just to sort of supplement Reading River. Phonics Play is a really good tool, and pupils really enjoy the activities that are on there. So this little boy is just currently making a cake out of rhyming sounds, and he's on phase 1. And he's listening to the sound cat, and he's had to pick the different sounds to go into the bowl that rhyme with cat. So it goes up to phase 6, and there's lots of different activities on there. And we've just started using that, but we find it really good to use on the iPads for games, for practicing the activities and practicing new sounds, and also on the big screen as an activity as well in the classroom, the touch screen. So it's moving on to reading. So obviously we've touched on that. We have a reading scheme, which is a bit of a mix of lots of different reading schemes, but we've put them in the order that we want them to match our phonics scheme that pupils read. So in order for the pupils to access, obviously we do reading every day, and we use, again, some low-tech equipment, we use the e-tram frame and symbol boards and communication charts in order for pupils to talk about reading and answer questions about what they've read, to show their understanding. We also enjoy using ebooks, so we use ebooks off Twinkle, and there's lots of other sites like the Oxford Owl that we use ebooks, which people seem to really enjoy. And then we also have access to Reading Avenue, which is a board maker tool where it's fully accessible. It scans across with the use of a switch. It reads out the words, or it can be read out to people to answer questions, and it gives symbol boards and activities, and that is a really good tool for reading as well. Obviously that can be used on the communication devices of the pupils or on the class computers, or on the iPads. We also use seesaw activities, so our communication tool between home and our evidence-based between home and school. We can set activities for reading on there, so people can access them at home and on the iPads. We use Clicker 8, which is fully accessible with use of switch and just the usual mouse and touch screen, and we set up activities linked to what we have read, and we can also use that for phonics as well, for selecting sounds and selecting words, and there's a huge range of activities on there. And we also use, in some cases, for mainly in the higher end of school, they use reading pens, so the pens that you hold over words and go across the sentences, and it reads out what that is. And that's really important, although obviously we want everyone to be able to read, and we really push reading and want people to have children to have the opportunity to learn phonics and be able to read. We also know that some pupils who can't read have really good reading comprehension skills, so this allows them to access that, and it also allows them to access work as well. So the reading pens are a really good tool that we have been using. So handwriting, obviously handwriting, a lot of it is handwriting books and tools and activities. I've just put an example of, we love to write on tables, it does come off. And the pupils really enjoy it, and it's dead quick and dead easy, and we take pictures of it as evidence rather than writing in books all the time. And we have a few handwriting schemes that we follow as well. We use the whiteboard, the smart boards that we've got in the classroom, and on our smart boards we can put up handwriting lined paper on the board, and pupils can do some big writing on the board, or they can do some different activities on the smart board for their handwriting practice. And we also have lots of writing apps, which obviously pupils will just use the finger or a tech pen to write as well. And then fine motor skills. So we do lots of sensory writing and mark making, and we also use fine motor boxes. So we have some boxes set up in the classroom where you might have the pom-pom balls and tweezers, and you have to transfer the colours into the right colour, and lots of different things, and we can share some examples of those. And we also have make use of the iPads and the computers for fine motor skills, and that might be just pressing a switch at a specific time, like moving your arm, and using the iPads to trace and using the iPad to select. And then we use our smart screens as well. So there's a lot of technology that we do use. We do use a mixture of high tech and low tech. We do have a lot of our own provision that we've created and we've put in place. We are happy to share any further information you'd like on anything more specific. And if there's anything that you're interested in talking about a bit more, please just let us know. That's it from me. If you need anything, just let me know.